Item 4 on the agenda, which is the tabled questions. The first of these is in the name of Andrew Boff, and it's about anti-Semitic incidents.
Thank you very much, Andrew. I absolutely share your horror and condemnation of this kind of incident. There has been an increase reported over the period July to August 2014 compared to the same period last year, from about 31 crimes of hate crimes, whether that's spoken, written abuse or graffiti or even worse, violence. That's from 31, as I say, to about 102 in the last few months. We are looking at it very, very closely. The Met takes it as seriously as you and I do, and I know Bernard Hogan-Howe does, and the proportion of charges, you'll be pleased to know, has increased from 81% to 94%. To 94.
94%. Thank you.
And Tony will be glad to know there's only been one caution this year, today.
Right. Very good. I mean, following calls from community leaders for legal action to be taken against those who've spread anti-Semitism on social media, do you believe that there's more action that can be taken? It seems that some people seem to think that they can get away with comments online that they would have second thoughts about offline. And I wondered if we needed some attention paid to the kind of hate speech that is taking place on social media.
Well, there's already statute against hate speech, there's statute against incitement, there's laws against that kind of behaviour, and I think it should certainly be enforced. And I think it's quite easy, actually, with some of these, to track down the users of the accounts and to get them. So I'd certainly encourage that.
An MP, Graham Jones, recently had to apologise when he accused a Jewish reporter in an online debate about the situation in the Middle East. He accused him of killing children. Do you think it's the duty of politicians to realise that their language can actually be used to blame individuals for international events, local,
yeah. It's always been my view that, irrespective of what is going on around the world, London is a great global city. We have on our streets people from communities all over the planet. I don't want to see international disputes spilling over into the streets of London, and that's what we try to avoid. But I completely support what you're saying.
That politicians have a duty to watch their language, both online and in the public domain, about how they, what their opinions are, because there's been some very disturbing comments by politicians not a million miles away about this particular subject.
Yes, and I don't know which particular politicians you're referring to, but of course all politicians have a duty to avoid incendiary and inflammatory comments. But there is statute, and abundant statute, to stop people inciting hatred of any kind and hate speech.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Chair.
Assemblymember Dismore.
A Jewish constituent wrote to me by email a couple of weeks ago, and he wrote this: I can tell you that most of the discussion amongst my circle of friends, mainly Jewish, is about when Jews will have to leave this country, as we've had to leave others so many times in our history. Many are settling their affairs before going. There's a strong feeling that this day is approaching, and quite quickly too. I wonder what effect that will have on the economy, culture and numerous other fields in the long term. The Jewish Chronicle did a survey in August, and it showed 63% of Jews in Britain now think there may be no future for Jews in the UK because of this rise and fears of anti-Semitism.
Well, I want to reassure you and your constituents, all of them, Andrew, that this is something that the Met and I take incredibly seriously, and we will come down very hard on people who promote hatred, who promote discrimination of any kind. And it is very important for the Jewish community in London to know that they are a huge and vital part of our lives, and they are loved and they are valued, and we will not tolerate abuse.
Well, I'm pleased you say that, because obviously I think hopefully everybody here would agree with that. I'm sure they do. But he also says this: as usual in this country, it's all talk and little action. And the question they really want me to put to you is, what are you actually going to do about this state of affairs, rather than talking about it, not just by encouraging words, but by effective action? What can you do? And another constituent sent me a link to a video. And this video was a group of people on a London Underground station waving the Islamic State flag, faces covered, screaming out anti-Semitic language, protected by the Metropolitan Police. They were protected by the Metropolitan Police who were policing that demonstration. Is that the sort of thing the Metropolitan Police should be doing, protecting them or arresting them?
Well, Andrew, as you know, the flag of the Islamic State, or ISIS, or whatever, ISIL, or whatever they call themselves, is we don't tolerate that, and that, I think, has been taken down on at least one occasion, and I think the Met has overseen that, and we do try to make sure that is never flown. I would encourage all boroughs to take the same attitude, and I know that they do. On the role of the Met in policing demonstrations, there are about 5,000 demonstrations every year in London, and we are very proud of a society that is free, that allows free speech, and allows people to express their opinions. Where that shades over into vicious degradation of other communities, where that shades over into incitement, that is plainly intolerable, and it's the duty of the Met to stop that. And to ask what, you said, what are we doing concretely? Obviously, you'll have heard what I said about the increase in the number of charges for these offences. We're taking it very seriously. There's a lot of work going on with the CST, as you can imagine, to stamp out such behaviour.
Well, I'm pleased that you say that, Mr. Mayor, and I agree with the sentiments of what you had to say. I think everybody would agree with that. The real problem is when you see these demonstrations, which are violently anti-Semitic, not just anti-Israel, not just anti-Zionist, but turning to this anti-Semitism, the police don't seem to take action. They seem to just police the demonstration as though it's any other demonstration. Of course we have to protect the right to free speech. If people want to protest about what's going on in Israel, that's fair enough. But when it goes over the line, the police should not be protecting those people, they should be arresting them, and they're not. That's the problem.
Well, I mean, I'd have to, I'd have to have chapter and verse there, Andrew, of the occasions when you think the police should have arrested somebody for incitement and failed to do so. But believe me, this is something we take incredibly seriously, and I just want to reassure you about that. If you have particular evidence of somebody who should have been arrested, then for heaven's sake, give it to me.
Thank you. Any more questions on this subject?